Okay guys, so this weekend is Halloween, and I wanted to share with you a story that happened to us last year in the making of the film when we went to Mexico for a thing called Dia de los Muertos, which is their holiday, and quite similar to our Halloween. And so in honor of that, I wanted to share this story. In the film, the characters Carmen and Surf and Theo decide to go to Mexico for Dia de los Muertos. So myself, Jason, and Cat, the three of us, traveled to Mexico for the very specific reason of filming a procession that happens in this very small town called Mixquic, which is about an hour outside of Mexico City. And we decided Mixquic was the best place for us to go because they had this procession, this age-old procession that went on during the holiday that nobody else had done. This is special and unique to this town. And so a bunch of people get in their costumes and their face painted and they dress up and they carry a coffin on their shoulders through the town, you know, and everybody comes to this town. And Mixquic is a quite small town, but during Dia de los Muertos, it swells to over 100,000 people for the course of these 4 days. So we went the first day and we heard, there is this parade, it does go on, but we couldn't find out who did it or where it started. And so we said, oh, well, you know, we're going to come back again tomorrow and continue to scope out some stuff and film just, you know, B-roll things around. We went back the next day and we still, like, at the end of the day, had no clue where does this procession start and who runs it and what time, and nobody knew anything. They just knew that it actually happened. So now we're starting to get a little bit scared because we flew all the way to Mexico just for this specific procession, and now the day before it's supposed to happen, we can't find it. Third day we go to Mixquic, and when you're driving into town, you have to park on the outskirts of town. And so we parked in the same spot, walked into town through the same way, and we were going up the same road, and instead Jason said, listen, let's go left instead of going up this road we normally go up. So we said, okay. And so we start walking into town. The sun's slowly coming down, and him and Joe are popping off shots and just kind of taking in the scenery, and we're getting closer and closer to where, you know, the people are. And the first people we come across who have their faces painted and are all dressed up, we asked them, hey, would you mind just walking past the cameras? And they said, yeah, sure, no problem. And so they, being regular people who don't normally find themselves on film, do their first pass through the cameras, and it was very, very obvious that they knew the camera was there. So they do their third pass, and the moment that they pass the camera, one of the friends comes out of nowhere and says, hey, what are you guys doing here? Good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And so we start chatting with this guy too. And he's asking, you know, what are you doing there with the cameras? And, you know, of course we're down there for a film, and we're trying to capture some B-roll of this procession that we're looking for. We have not been able to find it anywhere. You know, we don't know where it starts, we don't know what time it starts, we don't know who's running it. We just know that everybody knows it's happening, but nobody knows anything else about it. And he looks at us and he smiles and he said, my grandfather started that procession 70 years ago. And he said, now me and my brothers are the ones who make it happen. And it's going to be starting in about an hour. You know, we just found the guy, and it's literally right there, and it's starting in an hour. I mean, how much luckier could we be? And so we asked him if they would allow us to film it, and he was so gracious and so open, and said, sure, of course. And so we get to film the whole thing, and we had 3 cameras, so I had one, Jason had one, and Joe had one, and we just filmed the entire procession that went all around town. We were beside ourselves. We were just thinking, like, oh my God, this whole time we're on the last day, we don't think we're going to find the guy. There we find him. They were just so amazingly nice, and we got the footage that we wanted. We filmed the whole thing, and they welcomed us into their party, which was a very private party because it was in a small house, yet the whole town really wanted to be there. And they shared food with us and drink with us, and it was just one of those special moments that when we go out to film, when we go out to make these films, you can't always have everything planned out to the T. You know, you really have to trust a lot, and our process is a lot about trusting. And it took us right up to the edge on that one, but you know, but we trusted that we would find it. It found us, I think.